We're back. What is a presidential election? Chapter 2, to run or not run. Why does somebody run for president? For lots of reasons. One person might see the need for many big changes. Changes in how much people pay in taxes. Changes to protect the environment. Changes in how people get health care. Another person might want to keep things the way they are or even return the country to a time they think was better. There's one thing, however, they all have in common. They each believe that they are the best person to improve the lives of U.S. citizens. That sure takes a lot of confidence. All right, we're going to take a true-false test. You guys should be pros at this. To run for president, a person must be born a citizen of the United States. True or false? True. Know all the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. True or false? False. You should know it, but you don't have to be president. Be at least 35 years old. True or false? True. Speak at least 2 foreign languages. True or false? False. David knows 2 languages. Maybe he's going to run for the United States of America president. Do you think? Yeah, maybe he says. Have lived in the United States for at least 14 years. True. Not have served 2 previous 4-year terms as president. True, you can't. You can run for president and win 2 times. 1 term is 4 years. So if you are president 2 times, that's 8 years. And that's all you can do. More than 250 million U.S. citizens will be eligible to vote in 2020 election. So people hoping to become president have a lot of voters to convince. Some presidential candidates may already be well known to the public. Maybe they are current or former senators or governors who have been in the news for years. Joe Biden has been both a senator from Delaware and a vice president under Barack Obama before he decided to run for president in the 2020 election. Often a vice president will run for president once the president he served with can't run again. If the president resigns, dies in office, or becomes so sick they can't carry on the job anymore, the vice president becomes president. Because of this, the vice president is also known as the VP or VP, is sometimes jokingly referred to as a president in waiting. It is true that for some vice presidents, the job has been little more than a title. Others, however, have had strong influence in the executive branch. They have helped make important decisions and provided presidents with advice and assistance. The vice president is also a president of the Senate. There are 100 members of the U.S. Senate. If a vote comes to a 50-50 tie, the VP, vice president, casts the deciding vote. This is Gerald Ford became president when Richard Nixon resigned the presidency. So if there are 100 seats in the Senate and there are 50 states, that means there's 2 seats per state. Occasionally, a presidential candidate has never been in politics before. Ulysses S. Grant was a military general who had never held elected office. Donald Trump was a businessman and a reality TV star. Okay, at the end, you guys can think of what you want to do here. Who would you like to see run for president and why? We did this in class. Maybe you guys want to do it at the end. Some candidates, even those already in politics, are mostly unknown to the public until they declare they're running. For example, in the 2020 race that's going on right now, we still haven't found a president and we're 3 days in. For example, in the 2020 race, Pete Buttigieg had been the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and Tulsi Gabbard was the U.S. representative in Congress from Hawaii. Many Americans did not know their names before early Democratic debates in the 2020 race. Here's Pete Buttigieg. He has a very fun name. This is Senator Kamala Harris appeared at the late night show with Stephen Colbert. Before entering the race, many presidential hopefuls will form what's called an Exploratory Committee. During this time, they will test the waters by traveling around the country to talk and listen to people about different issues and to help let the public get to know them. The Exploratory Committee also begins raising money in case the person decides to run. The easiest way to reach out to the public is through social media, posting opinions in real time based on the news of the day. The candidates will also appear on TV, usually on news programs and late night or daytime talk shows. Cable news channels like CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC devote much of their time to covering the race in its very early stages. Pundits, political experts, will appear on these networks to promote their candidates and say what is wrong with the other political party. Even presidents must campaign if they want a second term. For instance, Donald Trump was the president in 2020. That meant that he was incumbent. He campaigned for a second term so he could keep his job until January 2025. That's when the president who is elected in 2020 will finish their term. Presidents can only be elected for 2 4-year terms. Incumbents enjoy some big advantages in an election. To begin with, they're already well known to the public. The current president also has an easier time raising money for the campaign. They take credit for good things that are happening and think of all of the free publicity they get simply from being in the news every single day. As president, it is not guaranteed the nomination, however. In 1856, Democrats chose J. Buchanan as their candidate over the current president, Franklin Pierce. And sometimes a president, for example, Lyndon B. Johnson, in 1968, decides not to run again. Okay, here are some interesting facts. Leading the way, until Barack Obama in 2008, all U.S. presidents had been white men. Here are just a few of the people who broke down barriers in running for president. Victoria Woodhull in 1872, the first woman candidate, 48 years before women were allowed to vote in the United States. That's a big deal. Frederick Douglass, 1888, was the first black candidate. Al Smith, 1928, was the first Catholic. Hiram Fong, 1964, was the first Asian American. Shirley Chisholm, 1972, was the first black woman. Ben Fernandez, 1980, was the first Hispanic. Hillary Clinton, 2016, first woman to be the candidate of a major political party. Pete Buttigieg, 2020, first openly gay man. And right here, this is Shirley Chisholm, right here, the youngest president elected to office was John F. Kennedy in 1960 at 43 years old. The oldest to be elected was Donald Trump in 2016 at age 70. And this year, there will be a new oldest president. All right, so let's review. Chapter 2, to run or not run. We are running for president for the United States of America. And you can be a boy, male, or a girl, female. Things that presidents are running and hot topics are environment, healthcare, and taxes. More than 250 million citizens can vote in the 2020 election. If the president dies, retires, or is too sick to do his job, then who does it? The vice president. Good job. Becomes the president. The vice president and also the president of the Senate. And there are how many per state? 2. So there are 100 seats in all. If there's a 50-50 vote, who gets to decide? The vice president. The incumbent. That's who is already in office. Trump. And he is the oldest, as of right now, to run for president. Barack Obama was the first African American president of the USA. JFK was the youngest president, and he was 43. The Exploratory Committee are the presidential hopefuls. All the different people who want to run for president, They may or may not stay in the race, but they really want to change what's going on in America. They talk around the United States and they raise lots of money just in case they are able to run for president. And remember, they talked about social media being the big way that we get information out right now. So TV, the computer, pretty neat. Thanks, guys.